जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज यमुना तीरावनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज यमुना
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयं वीरये
ततो जयमुदीरये।
न नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी.
Reading from Srimadbhagvatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, entitled The Activities of Maharaj Priyavata, Shloka number 8. So we will read the word to word, not the meaning, word to word. We will see the Sanskrit, and after that we will read the text once and we will see the meanings. Saha tatra tatra gaganatale udupatihi iva vimana avalibihi anupatam amara parivrindahi abhipujyamanah patipati cha varutashah siddha gandharva sadhya loka charana muniganahi upagiyamanaha gandhamadana dronin avabasayan upasasarpa. Okay. I'll just read. This is very difficult to repeat. I'll just read the shloka once and then we'll see the word to word meaning. Sa tatra tatra gagana tala udupatir iva vimana valibir anupatam amara parivrandair abhipujyamanah patipati cha varutashah siddha gandharva sadhya charana muniganair upagiyamano gandhamadana dronim avabasayan upasasarpa. So, like you see the word to word meaning. Saha, he, Lord Brahma. Tatra tatra, here and there. Gagana thale, under the canopy of the sky. Udupatihi, the moon. Iva, like. Vimana avalibihi, in their different airplanes. Anupatam, along the path. Amara, of the demigods. Parivrindahi, by the leaders. Abhipujyamanah, being worshipped. Patipati, on the way. One after another. Cha, also. Varutashah, in groups. Siddha, by the residents of Siddha Loka. Gandharva, by the residents of Gandharva Loka. Sadhya, by the residents of Sadhya Loka. Charana, by the residents of Charana Loka. Muniganahi, and by great sages. Upagiyamanaha, being worshipped. Gandhamadana, of the forest where the Gandhamadan hill is formed. So a planet where the Gandhamadan hill is formed. Droni, the border. Avabasayan, illuminating. Upasasarpa, he approached. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. As Lord Brahma descended on his chariot, the great swan, all the residents of the planets named Siddha Loka, Gandharva Loka, Sadhya Loka and Charana Loka, as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of the various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon, surrounding by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamadhan hill and approached Prince Priyavata, who was sitting there. Purport. It appears from this description that there is regular interplanetary travel between the planets of demigods. Another significant point is that there is a planet covered mostly by great mountains, one of which is Gandhamadhan hill. Three great personalities, Priyavrata, Narada and Swayambhuva Manu, were sitting on this hill. According to Brahma Samhita, each universe is filled with different planetary systems and each system has a unique opulence. For example, on Siddhaloka, all the residents are very advanced in the power of mystic yoga. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes or other flying machines. Similarly, the residents of Gandharvaloka are expert in musical science, and those on Sadhyaloka are all great saints. The interplanetary system undoubtedly exists, and residents of different planets may go from one to another. On this earth, however, we have not invented any machine that can go directly from one planet to another, although an unsuccessful attempt has been made to go directly to the moon. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guravo Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Patanjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Murtale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatagini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kaka Sunduryayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today's auspicious appearance day of Lalita Shaki and also Shri Tagore Sundar. So as mentioned, we'll have evening program. So here in today's shloka, we see that a very wonderful event that is happening. Lord Brahma, very great personality, he is actually appearing on the scene, and then he is coming for a particular purpose, to actually convince the Priyavrata Maharaj. So, but on the occasion, so when such a great personality is coming, so it is not that other people are thinking that okay, like hamara kaam nahi hai, like dusra kisi ka kaam ban raha hai. So, but when a great personality comes, so everybody takes opportunity to welcome and to receive and worship. So this, we see that in various occasions. So whenever there is great personalities come, so even a Brahmana also, like actually if he visits a place, so immediately he is offered respects and worship and things like that. So this is the Vedic culture, and like there is a respect that is given, when great personalities actually appear. And here we see that Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Sadhyaloka, Charanaloka. So all of them, various different planetary systems. So all of these great personalities, they actually appear over there. And even we see that whenever the Lord appears in Srimadbhagvatam, we see, I think except for Mohini Avatar, every time the Lord appeared, so everybody would come and offer worship and a reception and things like that. In Mohini Avatar, it did happen because they didn't know who it was. So otherwise they would have did. So in this way we see that this is the proper way of reception, and they all of them actually, they came in different airplanes. They filled the whole sky, and they received Lord Brahma. They worshipped him, and as he received respects and adoration from the residents of various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon surrounded by illuminating stars. So this is some of the aspects we see, even in the inauguration ceremony, like Prabhuji was mentioning, how the demigods were going and praying to the Lord that no, you should appear now and things like that. So it is called a scheduled incarnation, but still, like no, the Lord doesn't come just like that. No, people have to go and invite, and then when he comes, also like he comes with his like associates and people. Like it is not that no, he alone comes. No, so a great personality. No, when he appears, no, he appears with his entourage actually. So it is like this. No, in our Janmashtami invitations also we see that like instead of calling small leaders, you call a big leader, then all the small leaders has to come. Right? So this is how the this one the protocol actually works, and it works there also. It looks like when Brahma comes, no all other small leaders also like they accompany and they also come actually. So this is the protocol since time immemorial. So it's happening even now. And then Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamadhan hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there. So here it is mentioned that Prabhupada has covered this maximum of the purport on the interplanetary travel. So, and he's mentioning about this particular aspect of like how the interplanetary travel is possible, and then in the past it was happening and things like that. So why it has been focused so much? So one of the things that we are trying to establish, or the preaching in the modern days, like we're trying to establish, is that to prove whatever the propositions the science has given, it is not all in all. In many cases it is false, and also whatever the acquisitions that are put on the Vedic system, that needs to be removed. So, like as yesterday also we were discussing on this point, that the first stage in bhakti is Shraddha, and Shraddha means having complete faith in the scriptures. And if somebody raises a small point saying that okay, like everything about scriptures is okay, but ये सब थोड़ा सा फालतू चीजें भी है, ऐसा like एक planet से दूसरे planet जाते हैं, like कुछ बड़ा airplane आता है and things like that. So these things are all not like other things we can accept. Many moral stories are there, very good instructions are there, but these are all not facts. Even that much of contempt towards the scriptures is sufficient that we will not be able to progress in Krishna consciousness actually. So this is very essential, that every aspect, whatever has been criticized about the scriptures, so that needs to be established, saying that this is not a fault, scripture is faultless. So it is very, very essential. Without that, the completeness of Krishna consciousness will not happen. So, like we see that Lord Buddha, he appeared and he gave a very wonderful path of meditation. Even now many people follow. So, but we call that system as atheistic system. So the glorification in the Dashavatara Stotra is Nindasi Yajya Vide Ahaha Shruti Jatam Sadaya Hridaya Darshita Pashugatam. So like this is like Nindashi Yajya Vide. So he criticized the Yajya Vidhi. So why? Because people had exploited the scriptures to such an extent that they have legalized the animal killing on the strength of the Vedic literatures. There are some this one rules are there, but then like it is like Ardha Kukati Nyaya to the core, So they removed all the this one rituals and all the other rules and regulations. They just taken the this one animal killing and it is like giving more importance to a particular portion of the scriptures than the other portion. So in this way, like people try to exploit the scriptures, and then at that point in time, so Buddha had mentioned like you reject the scriptures and you follow ahimsa, and then he taught some systems of this one. And one of the funny things, even we mentioned it in the Gita course, that Lord Buddha's philosophy is that nothing exists, no shunyavad, so ultimately like you have to disintegrate yourself. No, we give the this one the Buddhists give the example of a chariot. No, what is this? This is a chariot. So then you remove a wheel. Like what is this? This is wheel. You remove like no other parts like no flag and pillars and everything is removed. So now everything removed. Like now where is the chariot? Chariot is nothing but a combination of things, and when you disintegrate it, like no, it is finished. No, it is not existing anymore. So in the same way, like no, we as a person. So we imagine that we as a person, because we are all a combination of matter which is sticking together. And if you disintegrate, like no, everything is finished. So that is his philosophy. And surprisingly, after the like Lord Buddha disappeared, like they made statue of Buddha and they started worshipping him. So this shows that this worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very much intrinsic. Even a philosophy which advocates Shunyavad, that Acharya is worshipped later on after he like departs. No, so that means it is very very, and they chant the names of Buddha and they they worship Buddha and they have like all the this one. And philosophy is something else. It is not syncing with the philosophy, but still that worship is there. So that is how very powerful our personal conception. The Lord is personal and we are personal. And then to engage in the service of the Lord is the ultimate path of perfection. So that is there. Like even if you don't want, the strains of that will be there, in the practices. So now this Buddhist philosophy, we see that why do we call it as atheistic? Because so theism, when we call it something as theism, so something as astika, so then it means it is on the basis of the scriptures. So nastika means like not accepting the scriptures. So there is no like proper establishment of religion without establishing the scriptures. So what is that shloka which Prabhupada often quotes? So that is one. And Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrika Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Uttathaya Ida Kalpate. So that means this without the instructions of Shruti, Smriti and Purana and Pancharatra. So any bhakti that has been practiced, that will only create disturbance in the society. So that is the Vedic conclusion. So these scriptures are very very essential. And in the path of progression in Krishna consciousness, we have Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So amongst these three things, Shastra is very very important, because like the Shastra cannot be deviated. Like Guru may sometimes deviate from the path. Sadhus, like whom we approach as sadhus may may not be proper or something like that. So but like sadhus generally mean the previous established acharyas, previous acharyas. So and like very prominent personalities who are very solid in their practice, even in the current times, can be accepted as sadhus. So but not any practicing Tom, Dick and Harry, so like who is struggling with his own sadhana. His conclusions will not be like proper, in according to the Vedic scriptures. So, but people who are siddhas, people who have perfected their life, they are considered to be sadhus. And Guru Sadhu Shastra, like we see that in the this one Bhagavad Gita itself, like there are many places, this happens. When Krishna is accepted as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, what does Sadhu Praman he gives? Asita, Devala, Narada and all. Like, what is that shloka? You remember? Huh? Swayam Chaiva Bhavishimi. So, like, we see that, like, all this is a pramana, And later on, in the this one 18th chapter, one time, like this one, we asked this doubt to our Bhakti Shastri teacher. So when Krishna is personally giving the opinion, so he is also giving the opinion of, this is the opinion of other sadhus also. Like, what is the point? Like, he is the highest authority, he is giving. So then the teacher told, like, no, the Lord is trying to establish this Guru Sadhu Shastra. So he is telling the scriptures and he is telling his opinion, and then he is telling that this is the opinion of the Shastras, this is the opinion of other sadhus also. So why he is telling? Because this is the standard mechanism of evaluating something. Just like now, if you want to evaluate something, if you want to evaluate a gold, you have a standard process. You have to evaluate anything, like you have a standard process of measuring tool and things like that. So in Krishna consciousness or in the Vedic path, any conclusion that is made, the standard process is Guru Sadhu Shastra. Even the Lord uses that technique to establish things in Bhagavad Gita, right? So it is very, very important. So something which even the Lord uses, then so that is the way the Lord actually functions. In case of this is also a very amazing aspect of leadership. We see that Lord sets a principle and then he puts it into action himself. Just like Prabhupada set it up GBC, and if he says something, like nobody will oppose, but still there will be meeting will happen, and then like everybody will vote. And Prabhupada will say, okay, fine, all of you voted, let it be. And if it goes too much, then he'll say like, no, it should not be done. It should be done like this. So just to separate the things. So in his period, like when he was there, even then, whatever the management system he created, he put it into action and he made it to work. And then he also made himself, a person who was having only one vote. Though he can overpower the whole this one, but still he kept himself like that and he made it work. Made the whole system work. So in the same way, like Krishna also makes it that in the Bhagavad Gita and in his speeches, like in his dialogues, we see in the Mahabharata and things like that. So every time he uses this thing, that Guru Sadhu Shastra Pramana actually. So this is the Pramana. This is the way of establishing a conclusion, in the Vedic way of thought. So like here we see anything that is opposing this thing, anything that is vilifying the scriptures, anything that is putting down the spiritual master or the previous established acharyas. So like we cannot tolerate that, and we have to oppose that particular thing. So if we tolerate that, saying okay fine, like this is okay like that, so then that will be an offense and we will not be able to make sufficient progress in Krishna consciousness. So this is a very important point. So this is why we see that Prabhupada actually writes a lot about the Varnashram. So Varnashram, one of the aspect is it's practical also to organize the society, and also there is a lot of opposition on the point of caste system. So that has to be like opposed and it has to be established. This is scientific, and there is a lot of opposition about this point that one time like I had gone to a Xerox shop. And one person saw me in saffron, like, he started, telling, you follow these things, like, a lot of fairy tales are there, monkey god is there, this god is there, and like things like that. He started like literally blaspheming. So then, I told, like, what's your problem? Like, we are following, like, you don't even know the ABCD of the scriptures. Why do you comment upon PhD subjects? So then he was telling, leave off all these things, like you should be good and you should you should take care of people and things like that. And by the time I could able to sense, like he is a smoker, like I got some nice smell from him. So then I told, see, we do good, but we don't do bad like you people. Then what bad I do doing this, that and all? You are giving free cancer to everybody. That we don't do. So, what are you talking about? Yeah, you are a smoker. Like you are letting out so much of poison. We are not doing all those things. No, I am doing it for myself. Like, what is your problem? But other people are getting affected. So I just bet on that point thoroughly. So then he just left actually. He just simply wanted to disgrace. He just simply wanted to pull the legs, but he didn't know that. So we people have everyday Bhagavatam class and we sharpen our spots. So to attack anybody who comes. So, we see that here this point that is mentioned about is about the interplanetary travel. So this is very much possible. So though we may not be able to see that no demigods are coming now, and then nobody is going from here to anywhere. So of course, moon expedition is there, but that has been thoroughly condemned by Prabhupada. So we see that no mission can actually go beyond this particular point. There are many case studies are there. So wherein the different layers of the universal covering is there. So not universal covering, like different layers of what do they call topography, right? So so this ordinary machines that is made by the humans, they can even cannot pass through all these things because of the high temperature and high pressure and stuff like that. So our electronics will fail. beyond a particular point. So it is not possible for an electronic machine to go to this level. So why this whole attempt is trying to make these electronic machines and then trying to take them through this topography and things like that. So because we have lost the subtle sciences and we know only gross science. So the higher planetary systems, they exist on subtle platform, and if we have to penetrate and if we have to go there, so we need to have subtle science. So and use the gross science and we just project it saying that it is happening. So Acharya is able to clearly see that it is false. It cannot happen. So how can they penetrate into a subtle region with a gross machine? So it is not possible. And this is one of the strong reasons. And then many other reasons are there. Like another reason that Prabhupada gives is, so only pious people can actually go to that place. People perform austerities and there is like a way to go to these planets. And in fact, Prabhupada's first book is Easy Journey to Other Planets. So why? Because he wanted to oppose this particular thing, right? So now somehow or other, the preaching to the Western people or preaching to the modern people means we have to connect with them, we have to resonate with them and things like that. So I was hearing one talk by Radhikaraman Prabhu. So he was mentioning that standard dialogues, how it actually happens. So he quoted Prabhupada, he quoted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how does interfaith dialogues happen? So like people of the material world, modern people, so they have the faith on the science and we have the faith on scripture. So that's also interfaith. So how does the interfaith dialogue happens? So he quoted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he met Chand Kasi. First thing he asked was, why do you kill your mother and father and eat? So cows and bulls are like mother and father. Cow gives milk and bull tills the land and it produces grains. So the father brings the grains and the mother gives milk. So this is this is symbolically like mother and father. So he actually started the dialogue with a difference. It is not like dialogue we start saying that they go like this similarity is there, we are also same like that and things like that. So dialogues doesn't start like that. So our Vaishnava way of dialogue is it starts with the controversy only. It starts with the difference. And Prabhupada also, any Christian priest you meet, it's Jesus told thou shalt not kill, why are you killing? He starts with the question and the other person is stumped right from the first to the son. So that is the way the preaching actually happens. And here also we see Prabhupada, whenever he went to the West, he told why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? He actually puts all the differences, and then sometimes he goes and meets some big personality and he says that, see, the newspaper, there was this one, crime, why, and how to solve, or something like that. So we have the solution. You just arrange for Sankirtan to happen, mass distribution of prasadam to happen, we will solve this. And the other person not able to speak anything. He's right away, this person has come and he's giving a big solution. And he's stunned, the other person. And then they give some reason, or now they have to give a proper reason why they cannot accept this proposal. So they are trying to give some reason and Prabhupada is arguing on that. So that is how the dialogues actually happen. So this goody way of preaching may make some friends, but will not transform anybody into devotees. So this is the way, right from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Parampara, we see how the opposite party has to be confronted. So when people of different faiths are there, so we have to establish the science of Krishna consciousness. It is not that whenever this point about people asked, I was listening to this Allen Ginsberg's interview with Prabhupada. So he was asking, it is this tradition is highly what is that? It has so much of rituals. You need to change your clothes, you need to chant Krishna's names, you have to change everything and things like that. So for everything, Prabhupada is saying, no, we are not asking all these things to happen. Any bona fide name of God you can chant. We know there's a standard argument that Prabhupada gives. So any bona fide name that can be chanted, and then dress doesn't matter and stuff like that and all. So if you become a serious practitioner, you can. And we are not expecting too many people to become serious practitioners. So common people, we are just advising this much. like that Prabhupada used to put that. So here we see, Prabhupada is actually defending the principles of the scriptures, and he's not stepping back on that, and he's actually addressing the fallacies or the mistaken ideas which are there. He's actually addressing that, and he's actually putting it down. So these are some of the aspects that we can actually see that it is this is followed in the parampara. So we have to see how to adopt that. We have to adopt this particular thing. So that is when we will be able to properly say that we are following in the parampara. Whatever way the message has to be taken from the parampara, and the way in which it is administered, so that also should be taken in from the parampara. So that is when the proper passing on properly we'll be able to access the Supreme Lord. So and Prabhupada conclusively mentions, on this earth, however, we have not invented any machine that can go directly from one planet to another. So although an unsuccessful attempt has been made to go directly to the moon. So that's the point which Prabhupada likes to beat upon. So yes. Then, this is one. And then just wanted to speak a few things about today's Lalita Devi's appearance. So this today morning, Sri Gaurav very nicely, he posted a message. So in that, one nice thing that we can actually see is, Lalita Devi is the leader of all the Ashtasakis and the master of Rupa Manjari. So that's very, very important for us. So we are followers of Rupa Goswami, and we are called as Rupanugas. And this is founder acharya of all the founder acharyas, we can say. So, and also these personalities we appreciate through the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we see that Lalita Devi is none other than Swarup Damodar Goswami, and we can see what and how they were actually serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one of the service that Swarup Damodar Goswami would do is whenever there is some composition in glorification of the Lord comes, so he would actually screen, and he would see for all the rasabhas, if anything is there, he would just reject it, and then if all the things or compositions are proper in accordance to the scriptures, in accordance to the mood and rasa, so then only he will recommend that for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear. Otherwise he would put it off. And then Swarup Damodar Goswami was a very, very amazing servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if you know, what is his relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He's a god brother, junior god brother. He was serving his spiritual master, and then later on, after the departure, he actually came and his spiritual master ordered him that you should go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, he actually comes and joins as a servant, and that's just the pastime of this one. And especially when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling the pangs of separation from Krishna. So during that time, so Swarup Damodar Goswami would chant the appropriate verses from Srimadbhagvatam, which actually assists and which actually facilitates Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood of absorption, and also it pacifies if something goes to the extreme. So in this way, he was a very, very confidential associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he served Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in many, many different ways. And also this point of how Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he actually expressed how he is a servant of Lalita Sakhi. So that is in his compositions, it is there. So in this way we can actually see that how fortunate we are to be there in this parampara. We may sometimes, people may think, what we are talking about interplanetary travel, we are talking about so many, this one, Khandan of science, Khandan of Mayavad and stuff like that. So with all these things, how will we be able to go and join the eternal pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna? So the argument is that, whatever the Acharya wants, whatever the current need is there, so we are actually fulfilling, and we are completely dependent on the Acharya, that whatever he can bestow upon us. And this is a glorious parampara, where like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came, and many glorious luminous personalities have come, and to the greatness of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada had appeared. So definitely, if we follow in this parampara and if we follow their instructions and their method of preaching, so we will definitely be blessed, by whatever they are actually cherishing. So we will be able to, get the very same thing. So one time, we asked this question to Banu Maharaj that how do we know where we are going? So then he was telling that this some very important points. One is the mantra, what mantra you are chanting, and then another is the parampara, who is actually facilitating this travel. So it is not that I chant some mantra and I can just go somewhere. So who is actually facilitating the travel? Our this one, we are completely dependent on these personalities. So that is why we worship them in the altar and we glorify them and we study about them and we depend upon them actually. So when we please these personalities, and that is also very much nicely seen that one time our Tamal Krishna Maharaj was about to get operated and Prabhupada did not wanted that operation to happen. So during that time, Maharaj's operation happened and he was in unconscious state. So that time, he had a dream of Prabhupada is giving report to the previous acharyas. And then the acharyas were very happy about what Prabhupada did. So, and we see that before leaving Vrindavan, Prabhupada had personal audience of Rupa Goswami, and then Rupa Goswami ordered him what has to be done and how it has to be preached and things like that. And exactly Prabhupada did this. And this is what is actually pleasing to these great personalities like Rupa Goswami, who are eternal associates of Shri Radha and Krishna. And that very thing has been presented here. So this is the mechanism through which we can actually convince the people of the modern age. And we have to accept this and we have to actually preach according to this one. And we can be sure that we will please the previous acharyas. And when we please them, so they will bestow upon us whatever is necessary things are there, right? So this conviction we should have. So it is not that we are doing something which is far off, from the this one pastimes of the Lord. What are we doing with all these things? We should not have this thought. And some malicious people, they actually try to plant this kind of doubts, in Prabhupada's books and Prabhupada's teachings, So that is not to be encouraged, and we should see that whatever is given in the parampara. So the glorification of Sri Radha and Krishna is given in the parampara, like many acharyas have glorified. So we should accept that. And this style of preaching is given by Srila Prabhupada. We should accept this also. So it is not that this is something different or it's not fit enough to help us progress in Krishna consciousness. This is perfectly fit, and it is because it is given by the acharya. So with this, I pause today's discussion. Any questions or comments you can take?
So this, the last point that you made is very significant about pleasing the Guru Parampara. They will bestow the higher aspects of Krishna consciousness. So just by serving, the higher aspects will be revealed. There is no need of discussion on those topics. So I'm just getting some clarity.
No. The discussion of those topics are essential to nourish a devotee, when he actually reaches that point. And by the mercy of the Guru Parampara, so that facility also will be provided. That will also be facilitated actually. So this is, that the other day when we had the Brahmachari Sangha in IBC, so that time Prabhuji was mentioning, Raj Krishna Prabhu was mentioning a particular book. So, Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, something like that. So, that is something, even I am also very eager to read that. So, it's based on a true story of a devotee in ISKCON. That to a sannyasi in ISKCON. So, that progress is definitely there. So, just like, when we are there in a lower standard, when our senses are too much attracted to the material sense gratification, so we don't need to worry about the subjects which are yet to come. It is there in our parampara, and we are not left alone to wander in this this one in this you try to explore and you try to get whatever it is. So it is not like that. We are under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, we are under the shelter of the previous acharyas, and when the right time comes, they will nourish us with all those things. Right? So that is definitely needed. So, but no, it is also like when the right time and to the right audience, it has to be done. So now, if you see, even in the personal this one of life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he never discussed, the esoteric pastimes with common people. So he chanted, and then he engaged in discussion on philosophy and things like that. But when he comes to his entourage, where the people who are highly advanced, so amongst them he actually discussed the pastimes of the Lord and things like that. So it is quite a important this one, quite an important lesson that we have to take from that particular this one. And also we see that the acharyas also set that example in their personal lives. So that's how one article of this one I read of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that he talks about Radhakund Babaji's or something like that, and they made this Ashtakalya Leela as very cheap and things like that. So we also would like to speak about that, and in fact we are the rightful people to speak about that. So and we are trying to educate the people, bring them to a certain level, and then we want to discuss about those subjects. And it's a very very heavy article. He actually mentions. So we may see that his articles and his teachings are quite philosophical and fully loaded with philosophy and things like that. But when it comes to these kind of things, he claims that we are the only right people to speak about that. And so why are these people speaking about that like that? So it is definitely it is there. So we need to do that. So but with the right kind of audience, with the right kind of maturity. So that is the needed thing.
Kind of small session. So, in fifth canto, and there's a description of the entire creation, different planetary systems. So Bhagavatam devotes lots and lots of chapters on the topics which are totally inconceivable, even of this material world, like the different sea, oceans outside. So why there is so much of the description, which itself sometimes might become a object of doubt for many practitioners. So if it would not have been there, probably the chances of doubt or faithlessness would have been lesser.
So the reality has to be presented, and Bhagavatam is the summit of all the knowledge. If even in the summit of all the knowledge, if it is not present, then where else we can go? So it is summit of all the knowledge, and so it is that we see that in Bhagavad Gita we don't see too much of fantasy, only Krishna's Vishwarup, except for that, everything else is conceivable, So and there are many, this ones are there, many levels are there, so where people can be taught, and then when the faith actually increases, so they can actually take into that particular this one. Even in the Bhagavatam setting also, we see that, so initially Sukadeva Goswami saw there are so many unqualified people were there. So he preached to them and he actually made them qualified and took them on to the highest plane, So like that. So he started off with the basic things, and they were all pious, they were all transcendentalists, and they all had a certain level of advancement. So from there he took them and then made them qualified to understand all these things, and also made them understand the highest aspects of the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. So all of it were given to them.
What's the liberal sense? Sometimes we are telling generally we are telling we are doing the devotional service towards back to God. At the same time also, we are reading from the scriptures, some of the devotees are telling after lives we want towards material and we have to do the devotional service. Which aspects they are doing? What is that? Is that your higher taste comparison to that back to God?
See, this is out of humility, that life after life, why a devotee says is that I am not qualified. So, one aspect is, no, I am not qualified, that I will be able to assist the Lord in his eternal pastimes. I am contaminated. So that is one aspect. Another aspect is that the aspect of moksha laguta krit. This is also one of the aspects of the pure devotional service. So that means like giving not very great importance to the moksha. So that is also one of the sign of advancement of devotional service actually. So that means like I'll perform devotional service only if I'm given a position in the spiritual world. No, it is not like that. Even if you, oh my Lord, even if you want me to be there in this material world, I will never give up your devotional service. I will continue to render devotional service. Right? So if you can take me back, that is good. If you don't want to, but still I will not give up your service. It is not that like no, तुम ये करोगे तो मैं ये करूँगा. ऐसा नहीं है. It's not business that is happening. Whether you like give me some benefit or not. So like whether you give or not, these are all the spiritual treasures, that is there. But whether you give it or not, I'm going to be your devotee. I'm going to render devotional service. So that is like to establish that point. This is very, very essential.
One question YouTube touches that. Can we fulfill God's wishes without realizing who is God?
Yes. So can we fulfill God's wishes without realizing who is God? So yeah, like if we realize, like only with the realization, we'll be able to fulfill Krishna's desires. So when we don't have realization, so how we will be able to fulfill Krishna's desire? That means to render his service. Like service to the Lord means whatever the Lord desires. And I don't have realization, but then how can I render service? That means to understand the desires of the Lord and to execute the desires of the Lord. So that is how we get a spiritual master, so who can practically tell this is the desire of the Lord. This is what you should do. You should chant 16 rounds. Prabhupada comes and he tells this. And how to please the Lord. I don't know what does the Lord wants. At least we know what the Acharya wants. You chant 16 rounds. Definitely if you do this thing, the Lord will be pleased. So like this. So before we realize the Lord, we understand the desires of the Lord and we please Him by the way of following the instructions of the spiritual master. So then the spiritual master actually trains us and then he awards us the realization and then he puts us in the service of the Lord. Right? So that's how this thing happens. Initially this happens in this way. Srimadbhagvatam ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.